It's a hot one today. Hello, my wonderful friends. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name's Elena. I love all things makeup and beauty. And today's content, I'm going to be showing you the best discontinued eyeshadow palettes. Yes, these palettes are forever missed. So if you want to see what they are, then definitely keep on watching. Now, firstly, I just want to make a little disclaimer. Yes, they're discontinued, but you don't have to worry. Most of them are on Mercari, Poshmark, Depot, or you can always shop your stash. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I have 10 with me today. And y'all, I'm just telling you, it is hotter than heck outside right now. I'm sweating with all these lights, but we're gonna keep trucking. And the first palette is Hide Tide from ColourPop. Now, this is one of the palettes that are on my eyes today. And this is what it looks like. This is such an amazing palette. I felt like the formula was really good. And this was like one of my couple first ColourPop palettes that I got, and it was like one of my first colorful ColourPop palettes that I got, and I really enjoyed it. I'm so sad that they discontinue it, because I feel like if you're a beginner in blues or just makeup in general and you want something that's very workable, beginner friendly, then this would have been the palette for you. But as I said in this disclaimer in the beginning, you can always shop your stash, find it somewhere else. But really, this was such a nice palette. It will be forever missed. And all these palettes that are discontinued that I'm going to be showing you, I will never declutter. I might not be able to use them anymore, but I will go ahead and still keep them in my collection. And the next palette is In the Limelight, and this is the other one that is on my eyes today. And let me tell you, everybody was having a cow when this was discontinued. This was one of ColourPop's biggest hits in my opinion, and I don't really know why they discontinued it. I felt like this would have just been, I don't know, this should have just been permanent. I felt like this is still going to be a hit to this day. The formula, the color story is everything. And as I said, when this was discontinued, everybody was so upset. I'm hoping ColourPop might come out with this palette again. I know that they discontinue palettes, and rarely do they bring them back, but sometimes they do bring them back. And I'm hoping that this is one that they're going to bring back into the future. Next is Daisy Does It. And if you know, you know, this is one of my favorite ColourPop palettes. I have hit pan on this palette, and this is what the palette looks like. This is absolutely stunning. The color story, the formula, everything is so good. And I felt like they actually discontinued this quite quickly, in my opinion. It wasn't as hyped as it should have been. I really love this palette, and I felt like it's so underrated. So I think that's probably why they did discontinue it, was because it wasn't their best selling. It probably didn't sell the best. But I really thought this was really nice. As I said, the formula, the color story, everything about this was just so spectacular. And I really hope they can bring this back. And I really hope people can get their hands on this and find the joy that I found in this palette. Next is another ColourPop palette. It is the Limoncello palette. And this one was also a very big hit for ColourPop. And during the time that this was released, we were seeing neutrals, but with a pop of color. And that's exactly what we have. We have the blue, yellow, green. I don't know if you would consider yellow a pop of color, but I do. And this was a big hit. Even the outer packaging, everybody loved. And I still love it. Like, if I'm going to be honest, I would just keep it for the outer packaging. But the formula of this was really nice. And I did get it gifted by my friend. I think, yeah, a couple of these I did get gifted by her. So I didn't actually have them when it first released. But I'm pretty glad I got my hands on it. I don't know, something about this, it's just something about ColourPop in general. They're always discontinuing the best palettes that they have. Like, they discontinued the Good Sport palette, they discontinued the Misunderstood Villains palette. I could go on, and I'm just like, why? Like, I get they want to put new things out, and that's totally understandable. That's why most brands discontinue things. But come on, really, ColourPop? Just leave the things that people really, really like in your collection, in your products, okay? Don't be discontinuing these type of things, please, okay? Please. Next, we have New Nude from Huda Beauty. This is always a tongue twister when I have to say it. And this one is absolutely amazing. And this is the only Huda Beauty palette I actually do have in my collection. And I thought this was really nice. It actually makes me want to kind of pick up something again from this brand. I don't know, like, most of their eyeshadow palettes really don't speak to me. They're just too neutral, in my opinion. The only one that really stood out was the Empowered palette. And, well, of course, I wanted the retrograde palette, but that never happened, so that's besides the point. I even wanted the Rose Quartz. That never happened. Those got discontinued before I got my hands on it, and nobody's selling those because they're so popular. Yeah. Extremely sad about that. Okay, but moving on. This does have some pressed glitters, and I know people aren't a big fan of pressed glitters. Like I said in many of my videos, I'm one of the few that actually don't mind pressed glitters. But the shadows, everything, the shades, it works very, very nicely. It's blendable. And as I said, for the first Huda Beauty palette that I were to get, this really stood out for me to actually buy something again from them, because I wasn't so sure. They are a little bit on the pricier side, so that's why I don't really buy from her. Now, I do have a couple of things from her that aren't eyeshadows that I really, really enjoy, like one of her blushes. Oh my goodness, don't even get me started on that. But I think I might want to buy another palette. Now, she said that she's done making these big size palettes. We'll actually see if that's true, because brands tend to say things like that but don't go through it. And hey, I would not actually be sad if they don't go through it. I really think these are really big hit in my opinion. So yes. Next palette is the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos, and this was in collaboration with Angelica Nieves, and this was her first collab palette that she put out there. And this is a jewel tone palette, and I love jewel tone color stories. And let me tell you, the shimmers, the mattes, everything are just so, so good. Now, this is the only Kaleidos product I do have in my collection. I kind of want to try some of their highlighters, or maybe their blushes. I'm not so sure. But the things eyeshadow-wise they have came out with, just not really speaking to me, due to the fact that they have turned to the neutral side. And it's not like I don't mind neutrals. It's just, if I'm going to buy it from an expensive brand, I really want to buy something that I know I'm going to use. And for instance, this I definitely use. I've actually used the heck out of this palette. It is quite messy if you see it. Yeah, we don't talk about it. But this is one of my favorites, and this was actually the reason, or this is the palette that made me get this idea. Now, I know this idea has been floating around with some other creators, so this is not my idea in the first place. I don't know for sure who really started the video, but I know that this isn't my idea for sure, and that somebody else has started it and has been going on. So I just want to give the person credit that they need the credit for. And this was like the palette that I thought about, and I really wanted this palette so bad. And I wasn't actually into makeup at that time when this palette released, and unfortunately it was discontinued by the time I wanted to get my hands on it. But my friend so kindly gifted me this, and I'm so grateful for that. I actually have every Angelica Nieves collab palette. This was the only one I was missing in my collection, so I kind of was like, hey. I was like, you know, I'm missing only one palette. Can you just do me a favor? Because I just feel awkward, you know what I mean? and she totally agreed, and I'm just so happy for that. But yeah. And then we have from Odin's Eye, the Angelica Nikovas collab, the Hella palette. And this was her second collab palette that she did. And this was actually my first indie brand eyeshadow palette slash my first Odin's Eye palette. And I wasn't much into greens at the time, but I really love her channel. I love her as a person. She's super, super kind. So I really wanted to support her. And I'm really glad I got my hands on this because now I'm into greens. If you know, my favorite eyeshadow color is green. I'm really loving this look today. Also, this was something a little different that I haven't done. I decided to do blue, green, a little bit brown on the outer corner. And I do have an Instagram, so I do always post my looks on Instagram. I also have a TikTok. I might be linking that down below now on my description box because I've been more active on TikTok. But as I said, if you want to see any tutorials on the looks, just let me know. But I'm really glad I got my hands on this, and it is such a good palette. And like I said, this was my first indie brand palette slash my first Odin's Eye palette, and it did not disappoint. This really showed me what indie brands can do, because I wasn't really into indie brands at the time, because when I got this palette, I was really just not into makeup. I was starting out into makeup, and this was actually my second YouTube video that I did. The first one was an eyeshadow palette collection that we don't talk about, but hey, you know, you got to start somewhere, okay? But this really opened my eyes because I wasn't so sure on them. I really didn't know what an indie brand was, to be honest, until like 3 years ago. So yeah, that's my knowledge into makeup back then. But hey, we are here now, and I don't know, I'm just so thankful that I got this, because now most of my palettes that I have in my collection are actually indie brand palettes. And I don't know if I've told anybody. I don't think I've told really anybody here on YouTube. I know I've told my friends, but in the future, my goal is to, of course, be a content creator, a full-time content creator. And my goal is to actually do my own makeup brand. And I'm hoping that the first thing I can come out with is an eyeshadow palette. I know it's extremely hard for you to own your own makeup brand, and I know a lot is put into it, but let me tell you, that is one of my goals. I feel like I can achieve it. I have the most supportive husband in the whole entire world, so he keeps me going, and he's the reason why I'm still honestly doing these videos, why I'm still content creating. I stopped for quite a while, and then I met him, and then he was like, you know, you really should do this. Like, if this is what you love, then do it. And I really did love it, but I was so busy with working all the time that I never got to do any YouTube. And now this is what I do for a living. So yeah, but I'm really glad I got my hands on this. As I said, unfortunately, all these are discontinued, but you can always get your hands on it from somebody else or shop your stash. So yeah. Next, we have the Try palette from Juvia's Place. And oh my goodness, I am like so hot right now. I know I said in the beginning it is hotter than heck, but it is really getting to me. So let's just keep going. I'm going to go not fast that you can't really understand me, but I'm going to try to go a little quickly so that way I don't burn up. But besides the point, so this is what the palette looks like, and I am in love with this palette. Now, I do kind of want the Nomad palette from Juvia's Place also. This was kind of like one of the palettes I was like going between. It was the Try palette and the Nomad palette, but I decided this palette, and I'm really glad I did get my hands on it. Very beautiful. I love Juvia's Place as a brand just in general. You can find them at Ulta. You can always shop their website. They are a very affordable brand, but with amazing quality and amazing products they put out with. And I definitely want to try it more from them. I want to try another eyeshadow palette from them. And it's going to be like that one where it was like Solar Space or something. I don't remember quite what it was, but that one really spoke out to me. But this one, really nice. And next we have the Nomad Feta de Provence palette. And this was my first Nomad palette that I ever got from the brand. And this is what the palette looks like. A very spring type palette. It can also be considered summer. And this really was a nice palette. This was the first palette I got from Nomad. One, because I really didn't know about the brand, and two, this palette kind of spoke out to me. Like, I just remember scrolling through Instagram and seeing this palette, and I was like, oh, okay, like, let's go ahead and get this palette. Not knowing really what the brand was, but now, of course, I know what the brand is, and I talk about the brand all the time. But the shadows, everything was really performing really, really well. Now, this is a little bit on the older side, so it does have its moments, let's just say that. But overall, the palette really nice. And I think you really should try out Nomad if you want to try out an indie brand, affordable indie brand. And their brand is so kind. Felicia and her husband, the owners of the brand, they are just amazing human beings. Let me tell you that. They're so supportive. They're so kind. They get back with you if you email them. They get back with you within a reasonable time. They are not too fussy. Now, of course, if you're going to be fussy with them, they're going to be fussy back. That's just how, customer service goes. But I really think you should check out Nomad. And the last palette is from Beauty Bay. It is the Wilderness palette. And this is my only Beauty Bay palette I do have in my collection. And this is what she looks like. I've actually used this palette like quite a bit last week and this week. I've been trying to get more use out of it. Now, I was gifted this by my friend, so I didn't actually get it on like the first time before it was discontinued. But I really like this palette. I think it actually performs really well. Now, do I want to buy from Beauty Bay? Yes, but just nothing has really came out that's spoken to me. Except for that Botanical palette 2.0, whatever you can call it, just the new one that came out. I don't know. Something about this palette really spoke to me when I saw it, but unfortunately, it was discontinued. And actually, let me go ahead and show you it again. This is the only rainbow palette I have in my collection. So when it comes to rainbow, this is rainbow. Yes, I do have a lot of colorful palettes, but this is literally like rainbow palette. Has the Roy G. Biv everything to it. But amazing palettes. So yes. Okay, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be back with a lot more makeup and beauty content. Till then, you guys stay beautiful, stay healthy, stay safe. And if you're in the heat, please stay cool. This is a reminder to stay hydrated, drink lots of water, drink lots of fluids. So yeah, but till then, I will be back. Bye.